Alright, we're going to look at the break-even price in shares using formulas. You can use that long method where you buy and sell and you do all the adding on and those kind of things. But sometimes in a question you just want to find the answer quickly. It'll be less marks than the other way, and it's just an easy way of using algebra to be able to solve a break-even question very quickly, and you can use this in a spreadsheet as well. So there are a couple of formulas that we need to look at, and really we're looking at whether there's brokerage fee in there or just a flat fee. So brokerage is a percentage or a flat fee. So let's have a look at the flat fee one first. So there are two formulas we can use for this one. The first one is 2.2 R add 1. So it's this one in here. So with the 2.2, that's there because you've got 10% GST, so 10% one time, 10% another time, so that's a 20% charge you're having altogether, and you're doubling it, so that's why it's getting bigger, so that's why it's 2.2. R is your rate as a decimal, and B is your buying price. The other formula is very similar. It's like this. It has the 1.1 for buying and 1.1 for selling, so this is your GST for buying, this is your GST for selling. Your buying price is up here, and your R once again is your rate, and that is also in a decimal. So let's have a look at a solution. They both work out the same way, slightly different with the decimal places when you get to the answer, but your final solution will be the same. It's up to you which one you use. So let's have a look at a quick example and see what that looks like. You've got the break-even price for shares purchased at $3.21. and a brokerage of 2% and a 10% GST. So we're going to look at, for the first one, the BEP using the really simple formula without that other line in there. And we'll put in what we know. We know that our break-even purchase price is $3.21. That's what the B stands for. Our rate is 2%, and that's in a decimal. So you must remember to put that in a decimal. Otherwise, you just don't get the right answer, and that's a bit of a pickle. So we put it into the formula. Make sure that you do the bracket bit first, because otherwise it gets a bit upset, and you'll come up with an answer of 3.3512. Now notice that it's 0.12. Normally what you would do is say, okay, that's $3.35. Because this is a break-even question and we know that our fees and charges are going to go up, and this is an approximate kind of finding out, then we need to actually round it up to $3.36. So $3.36 in here will be our solution. Okay, so 336 is what we need to be covering or to get to break even. Now remember, we're not making a huge profit, we're just breaking even. What happens though when we've got the other formula? So let's have a look at how the other formula looks like and see how that works out. Same deal, we put in all the information you've got. Now it's the same as every single other question we do. We always put in all the information. B equals 1 plus 1.1 R, and then divided by 1 take 1.1 R. Start substituting all the numbers that you've done. Once again, being careful, make sure you do the brackets and stuff first, otherwise you get a bit confused. So you get 3.2806 divided by 0.978, that's the top line and bottom line respectively. When you work that out, you will get 3.3544. Notice it's slightly different than the one over here, the 512, but once again, remembering we've got that rounding up thing happening, so you want this to go to 336. Okay, so your answers are the same. So really, it's up to you which method you use. Both kind of work. So that's not too bad. That's not a bad way of working it out. But there are times though when you get a question that's got a flat fee. So what does that look like? So the flat fee formula is slightly different, because really all you're doing is taking in that fee. You don't have to worry about the brokerage, all that kind of stuff. It's just a flat fee. So the way it works is we got a formula that goes BEP equals 2.2 F divided by N add B. Now the difference is here you've got an F, and you've got an N, and that's like a slightly different kind of thing. F is your flat fee, B is your buying price like you had before, and N is the number of shares. Once again, this 2.2 comes from the fact that you've got 10% GST on the way in, 10% GST on the way out. So let's have a bit of a squiz at a question and then a solution. Calculate the break-even price for 300 shares. Now notice in this question they tell you the number of shares. Purchased at $3.29 with a flat fee of $80 and 10% GST. GST is always going to be 10%. Sometimes it'll be in a question, sometimes it won't. So we write our formula out, and then we fill in what we know. So we already know what some bits of this because we've got it in the question. So I always write out what my F is, what my N, and what my B is. And then I substitute it in, so it's going to be 2.2 times 80, because it's my flat fee, divided by 300. Now notice that this section is all independent of this, okay, because what this does is it works out how much the shares have to go up by per share to be able to cover your costs. Very similar to when you do that long break-even thing. So then you end up with 379.67, and once again, because that's got this 0.67 here, or any decimal place in here, you want to go to $3.80. So our break-even price is going to be $3.80 for that. Okay, so that's the two ways to do it, whether you've got a flat fee or whether you've got a percentage. They're the ways of solving these questions. Very simple, very quick, and it's also really good to check if you've got one of those longer break-even questions. But normally in a test or an exam, you'll be led along which way and which process you have to use.